there, and welcome to this very, very special live broadcast that I'm broadcasting both to my Facebook business page, over on my YouTube channel, and also inside my beautiful, big creative community of Anne's Art Club. And I'm super excited to see that Angela is here, and I can also see that Anita is here. And so say hi in the comments so that I can say hello back. And we're going to jump right in to this interview that I did with the amazing Bonnie Christine. Now, if you don't know me, I am Anne LaFollette, and I had a corporate career for 30 years until one day my boss called me into his office and said, Anne, we've just eliminated your job. Walk down the hall, go talk to human resources, and gather up your things. And this came as a complete shock. I was in my late 50s. I had worked at the company for over 15 years. I was a vice president. I was very successful, and I was having a really, really great year. I'd always been in the top 5 performers at the company, so this completely came out of left field. But you may have experienced a layoff as well, and in a second, boom, everything that you've been used to, and your salary, and your benefits, and your 401k, and everything that comes along with a corporate job vanishes in that split second. And so I was very fortunate that I had an incredible son and husband who encouraged me after I couldn't get another job. I tried in my late 50s to get another corporate job and was not successful in doing so. And they encouraged me well, my husband found a box of art supplies in the basement. He brought up this big box of art supplies that was gathering dust. And he said, sweetie, maybe the universe is telling you to take a little bit of a break, explore your creativity since you've gathered all of these art supplies, but you've never used them. And why don't you explore your creativity? Because maybe the universe is sending you a message that it's not too late for you to do something different. And so I did. And I took Bonnie Christine's Immersion program when I discovered I'd never heard of surface design before. Never heard of it before. But I found Bonnie Christine online, and when she first offered this incredible course called Immersion back in 2018, I took it and fell completely in love with surface pattern design. And now I have all of my own wrapping papers. I have all kinds of beautiful fabrics that I sell, and I even have a line of shirts. This is one of my shirts that has my pattern on it. I have a pattern of the shirt that I love. I recreate it all the time, every time I have new fabric, and it's a bespoke line of blouses that have my designs on them. And it's the most amazing feeling. And so Bonnie only offers the Immersion program once a year. And so I wanted to make sure that I could share this incredible interview with you that she and I did a couple of days ago, because she answers some really key questions that I think we all ask ourselves when we're embarking on something new, especially when maybe you're similarly in my age cohort, right? We're in our 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even beyond. And my tagline, which is now it's a registered trademark tagline, is "It's never too late to create," which I truly believe. And so I'm going to play this interview for you because I want you to also, as you listen to Bonnie answer my questions, please put in the chat questions that come up for you. And then at the end, I'll come back on screen and make sure that we've answered them all for you. And if you enroll in her program through my affiliate link, you have the opportunity to get a coaching call with me. And then also there's going to be a group Q&A after Immersion ends to ensure that you are on the right path even after you've gone through the entire program. So I'll talk more about that at the end, but right now let's listen and let me introduce you to Bonnie Christine. Welcome, Bonnie Christine. It is so lovely to see you. How are you today?
Hey, Anne, I'm so glad to be here. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. And the workshop has been incredible. And I am so excited that you're going to be talking soon about your pattern design immersion program, which is incredible. And your story is incredibly inspiring. Would you be willing to share just a little bit about taking us back to that moment when you realized you wanted to pursue surface pattern design?
Yeah, because what is surface pattern design? So I had this moment where I learned what it is, and I think everyone probably does have that moment when they realize how big the opportunity is. So for me, I was always super creative. I grew up in a very creative house. We had a craft room, we had projects going all the time. And so I was always incredibly creative and also uncertain on what I wanted to do with that. So I went to business school, graduated, married David, my high school sweetheart, and found myself back in my hometown working for my mom at her quilt shop. Mom had a fabric store for many years, and part of my job there was to meet with reps and decide what collections we wanted to carry for the store, which was very fun. So I was sitting there one day working through the collections, and I just had this like aha moment of my goodness, this is someone's job. It's somebody's career. They're designing this fabric, and it's all over the world. And just everything that I ever wanted in life came into focus. I knew I wanted to do something creative. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to be able to work from home. I didn't have children at this time, but I knew I was going to have children. And so I just it felt like my calling in that very moment. So this was in 2009. And so I also just had this voice in the back of my mind saying, "Who do you think you are to dream so big?" I was not an artist. I had no foot in the door. I had no idea how to make any of it happen. And so that's where I kind of sat for about 6 months, just really in complete overwhelm, not knowing how to get started, um, or believing that I even could. And one day I just woke up and realized just how much time had passed. And I started that day. I was like, just get started already. And so I sat down and Googled how to become a fabric designer. And I just started doing one thing a day. And that's what I coined it. That's what I told myself. One thing a day. That's all you need to do. And so for me, I counted 15 minutes as one thing that as long as I spent 15 minutes a day, I could kind of check that off. And I really did check it off. And I obsessed over this momentum that I was gaining. And, the journey was long and it twisted and turned, and I learned things from all over everywhere because at the time there were no online courses or anyone really sharing about all of this. And so at the end of 18 months, I signed my first fabric licensing contract with my number one company, and that was 13 years ago.
Which is just incredible. And one of the things that I love to talk to you about specifically is my audience is a little older than your audience, but I really appreciate how you help encourage all of us, no matter what age we are, to pursue our creativity. So, for someone who might have buried their creativity for years, or put it on the back burner, how would you guide them to reconnect with that part of themselves?
I would say a huge part of my audience is 50, 60, 70, and 80-year-olds in that kind of range. And they're my favorite students. And I think so for the record, I did this like question on the workshop the other day of who was the oldest and who was the youngest. And I had a 6-year-old and I had a 95-year-old on my workshop. It was so incredible to see. But oftentimes, the women that I have in this age group are coming into maybe retirement and they're doing something different. They're having like a second career, or they want to do something from home, or they want to have a side hustle, or they want to contribute, or they want to do it for fun. But oftentimes they've been told things, right? Like, that's not a real job, or you can't make money as an artist. And you can. You absolutely 100% can. So I have many successful students. I was just talking to one who's 77, who's coming back for the third time to take immersion this year because she loves the community so much. And so my own mom, I think, is my favorite story. She took immersion when she was 67 and learned Adobe Illustrator and was able to sell her quilt store and do an online subscription box with the knowledge that she had. So, all to say, if you're feeling that you're too old or that you're alone, you're absolutely neither of those things. Um, what was your actual question, Anne?
Yeah, no, that was, you are absolutely addressing it. It's like, how can we, I, I
Oh,
think
okay. I got it.
we're
I got
trying
it.
to
Yeah.
reconnect. We're
Yeah.
trying to reconnect with our creativity, but you're absolutely right. We've been told that no, you have to go
Yeah.
when we were younger, even if we wanted to do it. Our
Yeah.
parents might have said, you can't go to art school because you can't make any money at that.
Well, here's the thing. I believe that we were created to create. I think that creativity is innate within us. It is there, and it may feel far away, but it is always available to you. All you have to do is tap back into it. It is a well that never runs dry. And so the only way to start is to simply start. And so, what I know to be true in my own life is if I have spent 6 months away from my sketchbook, that blank piece of paper, my goodness, it is terrifying. And if it's been a year, it's even more scary. And if it's been 20 or 30 years, it's likely terrifying. And also, when I just pick up a pencil or pen or paintbrush and I start making marks, I play all these tricks on myself. Like I promise myself I'm going to throw it away no matter what, all this stuff. I just mark up the page and then I mark up another page and then I mark up another page. And the next day I do it again. And very quickly, you start liking what you see. And very quickly, rather than feeling intimidated by that blank piece of paper, you start to feel drawn to it. You start to miss it. You start to be excited to come to it. And so it really is like one of those things where you can't experience it standing on the edge before you begin. You have to, like the knowing comes in the doing. And so you have to get your hands busy and take the pressure off. You don't have to make anything that anybody likes. You don't have to make anything that you like or that anybody's going to see. You just have to start moving your hands, start making marks, and go through that process of reigniting, awakening your creativity, and see where it takes you because it is such a joy-filled thing to do.
Yeah, and listen, one of the things you've been doing in your workshop also is you've been providing these amazing downloadable resources.
Yeah.
And one of them is your tracker, right? To try to make sure that everyone does that one thing a day. So, how did you kind of come up with that? And do you have any other systems or habits that will help keep us on track?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in habits and systems. You know, I came up with the one thing a day actually from Jerry Seinfeld. Do you know the story? So, Jerry Seinfeld, forever ago, wanted to get better at making jokes. And so he promised himself he would write one joke a day. And he started crossing the calendar off. And what that X does is it creates a chain. And he talks about this as like the chain becomes so long that eventually the urge to not break the chain alone will keep you going because you literally visually have created a chain from the X's. And so I just started to create my chain and do one thing every day. And it works. I still do it to this day, especially when I have something big and overwhelming and it feels like it's going to be hard to start. I just start already and I mark my page. And even that first mark means that tomorrow I'm going to be more likely to show up and do something else towards it. And so I'd love to offer that to anybody listening to this. If you want to start momentum, this counts. You're listening to me and Anne for 15 minutes, so mark off today, and then tomorrow you'll be more likely to come because you want to build that chain. Um, Other habits, my goodness, I mean, I think one of the things that really impacted me was learning how to take myself more seriously. I think that when we're pursuing something like this, it sometimes it looks like, that's cute. You're gonna like doodle and draw and I don't know, paint and be at home all day. And so there's a little bit of like sometimes when you're doing it from home, especially, there's like a lack of respect around it. And so I realized that I wasn't taking myself seriously. I was allowing myself to get distracted and miss deadlines and maybe stay in my PJs till noon. And so I remember feeling like, well, what does the more successful version of myself, what does she do? My goodness, she has her act together. She is getting ready in the morning. She is setting deadlines. She's meeting those deadlines. She's showing up. She's not procrastinating. And she's making, six figures on her art. And so I started envisioning that version of myself. And the fact is that you have to start acting like that person in order to become that person. And so that was kind of a habit that I initiated. Just take myself seriously. Don't, you have to kind of be your own boss.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. And I want to talk a little bit about the immersion program because it's really an incredibly transformational experience. And
Mhm.
so, can you talk a little bit about like what is it about the course that allows people to achieve such incredible shifts in both their lives and in their careers?
Well, I've thought a lot about this because it does. It does just that. So, Surface Design Immersion, it debuted in 2018. So this is our eighth year doing it, and we offer this course once a year. And we've graduated 10,000 students, and we've catapulted thousands of careers. And you know, you pause and think about that for a while. I think that this class is super transformative because it takes everything that took me about 2 years to figure out and it condenses it within 8 weeks. And I think the most surprising thing that my students constantly do is compare it to a degree in college because it's a transformative career-based course, meaning you will come through it and from no matter where you are today, in 8 weeks, you'll have everything you need in order to start a career if you want. Now, we teach from that level because we know that we also have so many people who want to come and learn. And maybe they want to do it on the side. Maybe they want to do it for fun. Maybe they just want to be able to make pajamas for their grandkids out of their grandkids, doodles and doodads. So we have a huge range of people and reasons why people come, but you'll be able to take it and run with it um, no matter what level you're at.
Yeah, and can you talk a little bit about like what's the key mindset that we should all have as we come into the immersion course so that we're kind of open to the possibilities that and doors that it opens for us?
Yeah. So let me quickly talk through what we learn in immersion, and then I'll talk about the mindset coming in. So there are 8 modules, and we learn how to gather inspiration and kind of set the focus for the project that we want to do during class. It's beautiful and inspiring. And then we open Adobe Illustrator. So there's 2 modules, an intro to Adobe and a advanced Adobe Illustrator program. So we truly do kind of download the program and open it together for the first time. And then we do bite-sized lessons that build on each other so that you come out of this program as a professional in this in Adobe Illustrator. Then we move on to creating repeating patterns, which Anne is our favorite part. And then we learn how to design collections, put together a portfolio, begin learning about art licensing. So, how to price your work, how to understand contracts, how to negotiate contracts. And then we move into creative entrepreneurship, which is where I teach you how to have a successful business. And so, the knowing that people are coming in from all over the world in all different phases of life, at all different ages, and at all different experience levels. What I urge students to do is really cherish like where they are right now because I truly believe that there's like you're not behind, you're not ahead. You are exactly who you need to be. And every experience that you've had has brought you to this moment that is going to inform your entire process. And so it's kind of like eliminating the comparison game. You cannot compare yourself to anyone else in the class because they are lacking where you're not, and vice versa. And so There's no such thing as behind in immersion. There's only the perfect timing and the perfect place in your life. Because I believe that the opportunity that you want will be waiting for you when you get there, not a moment before, not a moment after. So I had someone early in my career tell me that there was room for me. It was in another industry. I got started as a blogger back in 2009, 2010, when everybody was blogging. And I reached out to a bunch of very successful bloggers. I can't imagine what they thought. And I was like, I'm here. Nice to meet you. Most people didn't respond, which is reasonable. But one person did respond. Her name was Gina, and she was very successful. And she said, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Welcome. There's room for you." And it just changed the trajectory of my life because someone had said, you know what, even though technically I'm your competitor, there's a Bonnie size hole that only you can fill. Come fill it. And I've just carried that through into my mindset, and I carry it through into my students' mindsets because there really is room for everyone in this enormous industry. And there's a space that only you can fill.
And I think that leads kind of to my next question around why does surface design continue to be such an exciting field?
Well, there's two levels to this. There's like an industry answer, which I'll give, but there's also this personal answer that I have to start with because there is actually scientifically proven how much joy we receive when we see something put into repetition. And you know that moment. And when you take your artwork and you put it into pattern for the first time, let alone the first time that you get to hold it in your hand. And there's something that is so satisfying about it. The artwork creation process, I think, is the easiest way to find yourself in what we call flow, right? Like where the whole world kind of fades away, you lose track of time, and you're at one with the project at hand. And I think that it's one reason why we associate joy with pattern design because the whole process is one of living a beautiful life and one that feels really present and one that feels so satisfying when you see your work put into a product. Um, and then you think about like the generations that it impacts. You create artwork that, if it ends up on fabric, it's going to be in someone's quilt. And my family's greatest heirlooms are the quilts that have been passed down. And I often look at the fabric and wonder who designed it and what the story was. And so it just becomes so much more than what it is at first glance. Now, the industry perspective is just enormous. And so, what we do as surface designers is we make artwork for products. And so, if you're listening and you want to just close your eyes and walk into your favorite store in your imagination, maybe it's Anthropologie or Target or whatever, and start looking at all of the products. So, everything from mugs and tea towels to the clothing to the rugs to art prints and wallpaper to diapers to packaging for makeup. It goes on and on and on and on. All of that is part of the surface design industry. Now, Anne and I talk a lot about surface pattern design, which is creating repeating patterns for products that need it, like fabric and wallpaper and gift wrap and tape and ribbon. So when you think about that, there's no shortage, right? So every brand, every company, and every industry, and every country in the world is using artwork for their products. And so there's many, many different ways that people who have the design skills can monetize their work.
So the next thing that I would really love to have get your advice on is you actually have an awful lot of courage, and you've had courage that you've demonstrated repeatedly over the course of your career, not only by getting started and having the courage to take yourself seriously, but also as you have grown and evolved in surface design and as an educator and as a creative business builder or helper of other people build their creative businesses. What is like the key, do you think, to that capability? How can you share that with us so that we can try to emulate that and try to learn how to do it ourselves and to have that courage?
This is a great question because if you are going to put yourself out there, everything from being willing to show your artwork publicly to stepping on stage to doing things like we're doing right now, you have a lot of courage too, Anne. It requires a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone, and that's uncomfortable. And also, what we know is that growth and comfort don't exist together at the same time. And so, in order to grow, you have to step out of your comfort zone. And so, you have to be willing to do that. And then, as soon as that becomes comfortable, you have to recognize it and be willing to take another step right outside. Um, I heard something from my pastor, Craig Groeschel, back in 2012-ish, and he talked about 10 seconds of courage. And he talked about how most amazing things in life can be started on the other side of just taking 10 seconds of courage. And I used this, I still do today, all the time. But specifically, I used it to call art directors and say, "Hi, my name is Bonnie. I'm an artist. I have work. Would you consider looking at it?" I literally wrote the script down. I wrote, "Hi, my name is Bonnie" down and read it off of a script. I was so nervous. But getting someone on the other side of the phone is only on the other side of 10 seconds of courage. And then conversation flows. Everyone is lovely. I'm not nervous anymore. But my goodness, I don't even want to call in a pizza, Anne. I don't want to. And so, in order to get to that, is just practice of kind of succumbing to, okay, it's uncomfortable. I'm nervous. I feel vulnerable, and I'm going to do it anyways.
Got it. I got it. So this next question might be a little challenging, but sometimes we don't. So I have incredible support in my household. My husband's been totally supportive of my surface design career. You've had support in your household as well. But I
Yeah.
know that many people, when they are thinking about coming into immersion, and they're really excited about it, and they're full of energy, and they're going to do amazing things once they're in the program, but they may have to ask their spouse for support.
Yeah.
And do you have some tips for me and for my audience around how to approach that conversation so that they can go
Yeah.
into this in partnership with their spouse and get the support that they deserve?
This is such a great question because if your listeners are anything like me and you, we might be a little bit of a broken record because we probably often have new ideas that we're going to do. And sometimes we don't follow through on said ideas. Or is that just me?
No, 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 it's not just you.
Uh, And so sometimes the people around us might be like, okay, well, now it's surface pattern design. I don't know. But I think that a couple things. I think number one, going back to taking yourself seriously is going to go a long way. So when the people around you who really don't quite understand what this is and what you're going after sees you committed and dedicated and accomplishing things and being excited about it, if they love you, they will absolutely support you. We also do some things specifically for this. And so the workshop that's happening right now, the Your Pattern Playbook, it is a great thing to invite someone else who needs to kind of understand what we're doing here to watch. Specifically, lesson number 1 and lesson 4 are the best ones to let someone, if it's a spouse or a friend or anyone who's just not even getting it, because it is a whole thing that isn't common knowledge. So, one of the things that I do in lesson number 1 of the free workshop is I give you a glossary of all the terms that you're going to hear us talk about, but I also specifically explain the possibility. But then, if you do end up joining us for Surface Design Immersion, one of the lessons in the foundation module is there for you. Specifically, I recorded this and I'm like, "Hi, your loved one has sent you this video for me to explain to you what this is and how it's going to impact their lives." And so I just break it all down for that person for you, as just a gift, because oftentimes it's isolating because what we're doing is it's a bit of a unique world.
For sure, for sure. So another thing that can come up also is just the fear of the unknown, fear of the technology,
Yeah.
fear of own capabilities. And so you have incredible support that surrounds the entire program of Surface Design Immersion. Can you talk a little bit about that, so anyone who's worried that they're not going to be going into this alone? Can you talk a little
No.
about that?
Yes, so you're not alone. We have multi different layers of support. So it is a robust course. It's called Immersion for a reason. It is an immersion into surface design. And so part of what we do is we build out a team. We call them the Love Squad. So we have 25 experts. These are all people who are alumni. They started out as students just like you, and they came through the course and they found tremendous success. And so we have we have built this incredible expert team that is there to answer all of your questions. And so, I mean, I think last year they answered 36,000 questions, something like that. And so they are truly experts in Mac and PC and in Adobe Illustrator. And we've got people in different countries if you've got a keyboard that's not set up the same way or whatever. And so that's one layer. The next layer is through live calls. So twice a week, I do live Q&A calls for the community. So come get your answers, get your questions answered. And then the third way is via a add-on experience that we call the small group experience. This program has had a few iterations. I'm sure you are a part of one of them, Anne. This year it is the small group experience, which allows us, we're kind of like micro-sizing it for you. So it allows us to put you into a small group of about 6 or 8 other students that are in a similar place in their business and a similar place in the world. And then your small group will get guided format to meet every single week on your own. And then you're also invited to a new session with me every Friday, where I teach on really the sticking points from that week. So we do a little bonus lesson session, and then we break out into small groups again so that you get to meet other people in the class and connect in that way. So connection is a huge part of the experience. The community is a huge part, and also making sure that you're never stuck, that you're always moving forward is a huge part.
Yeah, I mean, the level of support is just unparalleled. And so I want anyone who's listening to make sure they know that you're going to be taken by the hand and walk through the entire process step by step with so much love and being poured into you every step along the way. It's just the most magnificent experience. Um, can you talk also just a little bit about people who have either money concerns and the different ways in which they they should think about this investment? I mean, it is like going to college, right? So,
Yeah.
but you want to talk just a little bit about ways to make people more comfortable with this level of investment, especially if they're haven't made an investment in themselves either ever or in a really long time.
Yeah. Well, the last time I looked into going to 1 year of art school, it was $63,000. So we have to
Yeah.
put this into perspective. The 8 week course is 1997, so it's $1,997, and it is an investment in your professional development. What we have seen is that really because of that, we have tremendous success because people are not going to spend that amount of money and not come and do the work and not come and show up and get the results. And so every single year we have students who are licensed before the end of the class. Now, I don't want to say that's expected, but it does happen every year. And then, of course, typically we want to see people recover the cost of the course, certainly within a year. And we set them up to do that. So one of the lessons in the last module is 10 ways to recoup the cost of the course in the next 6 months. So our goal is that you not only recoup the cost, but of course, go on to build a career of your dreams. And so it is serious and it is an investment, and also you are 100% worth it. Um, we also do have payment plans. And one of the things that we've done this year that we've never done before is we're working with like a payment processor that offers Afterpay and Klarna. So I don't know if you're familiar with those, but Afterpay gives you 0% interest and you can break the payments down. And so a lot of people are finding that helpful. Um, yeah, what else can I say to help with that?
I think that that is super helpful. I think the payment with Klarna is amazing. I think that that is also going to be very, very
Yeah,
helpful for many
yeah,
people
for
this
sure.
year. And then just finally, because I know that our time is running out and you have, I'm so grateful for this time with you, Bonnie. I just want to say every year it's such a treat to have an opportunity to touch base with you. And I wanted to have you maybe end with we our style kind of evolves over time, and also our learning and our absorption of the material we're learning in immersion also kind of goes somewhat in stages. I sometimes think of it as learning a foreign language. At the beginning your head's going to explode, but then if you let things simmer, all of a sudden some things start to make sense.
Yeah.
Can you give people some advice about being patient and leaning into this learning experience?
I think this is really important because now more than ever, we kind of want immediate results, immediate results, immediate success. And the thing with creativity is that it really can't be rushed. And so when I talk about this, I like to talk about every kind of artist. There is a gap in between where you are today and where you want to be. And that gap is represented by like what you envision something looking like, and then what it actually looks like when it comes out on paper or whatever, and the process of closing that gap. Now, every artist has this. It's not unique to you. And so every musician has this, every poet, every writer, every sculpture artist, and every traditional artist has this gap period where they're figuring it out. They're experimenting. They think they have a great idea and they take it to paper and they work it, work it, work it. They're closing the gap between where they know they can be and where they actually are. And so there's no fast tracking that. This is an art in and of itself. And so we teach you how to really embrace where you are and cherish that time because there's honestly nothing quite like it. You have to love where you are and everything that brought you to where you are, and believe that you're where you are for a reason, and know that you're making progress and that you will close the gap. And falling in love with the process rather than being annoyed by it is really part of the magic.
Yeah, that's just a beautiful way for us to close out our time together. I'm so excited to have as many people in my community as possible come into Immersion in 2025. I think it's the perfect year for them to engage in surface design in a really serious manner and fully immerse themselves into your beautiful program.
I can't wait to see you there.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. I know that we will see each other again, hopefully soon. And thank you again so much for your time.
Thank you, Anne. Bye.
Bye. Isn't she incredible? She is just the most amazing person. And I am so full of gratitude for actually having found her myself in 2018. And if you are meeting her for the very first time, it is just an incredible opportunity for you to become a part of her creative community, learn from her, and really start to take yourself seriously as a service pattern designer and know that you can do this. So I took some notes while she was talking, and I have sort of 7 big takeaways. But before I share my takeaways, tell me in the comments if you have any. What were some of the things that she said that resonated the most with you? I would love to know, and I'm also happy to answer any questions that you have. And let me know, right? Let me know what you want, what questions you might have. I can see that Brad is here. Hello, it's wonderful. And Curtis has also jumped on. Hi, Curtis. It's great to see you. And so let's see. So Brad says, I use Illustrator. Thank you for joining me over on my, I think I can bring your comment up here. You use Illustrator and have created a few patterns and have pushed them to Spoonflower. My understanding is that unless you know how to market yourself, simply having patterns uploaded won't produce. That is exactly right. So as with all things, you need to make sure people know that you have designs available, right? And so what I do, and also Donnie goes into this in great detail inside her Immersion program, is the first thing you want to do, and I get really excited and I start to talk too fast. So I'm going to make sure I take a deep breath and I slow down. Listen, the first thing that you want to do is you want to actually make enough work that you have a distinctive style that is recognizable, whether your name is actually on the artwork or is not on the artwork. And that can definitely take time. And one of the ways to do that is to gather inspiration that is very, that resonates with you. A particular type of motif or doodle that resonates the most with you. A color palette that you seem to be drawn to again and again and again. And create a variety of different pattern types that all work very cohesively with each other, which is actually called a collection. And in Bonnie's program, she starts with inspiration. And then from there, she talks about motif creation and putting together a mood board that talks about, okay, all of the different motifs you're going to be using to create multiple designs. Then color, she covers color to ensure that you are thinking about, well, what do you like most about color and what are you drawn to? All of those building blocks help you create a cohesive style of your own. And then you just have to create a lot of work, because the more work you create, the better you get at creating really top-notch designs that you would absolutely buy yourself if you saw them in a store, because that is a determining factor as well. If anything that you're going to create a lot of work that you are not going to be happy with, but you will eventually create work that you are very happy with and that you feel like if somebody saw it in the store and you saw it in the store right up against a whole bunch of other options, you would grab it and you would buy it. And then as a result of getting more comfortable with what your signature style looks like, you then build a whole portfolio and a whole collection of different designs. And then you actually have to go into the business of surface design and learn how to actually market yourself in a variety of different ways. I market myself on my website. I market myself on Instagram. I also market myself in the blog that I post every single week. And I'm always sending people to where they can purchase my products when I am in community with them. And so that's a really great question. Really great question. So Kristen Rogers, she said, eliminate the comparison game is what I needed to hear. I'm just starting into this world after a past life as a print designer and now soon ending a career as a web designer. You're excited to have this be new for you. Yeah. And so one of the things I wanted to make sure you're aware of is my affiliate link is a big blue link at the top of this broadcast. And I'm an affiliate partner for Bonnie, which means that I may get a commission. If everything works properly, I should get a commission. Often everything doesn't work properly. It's at no additional cost to you. It just means that if you go through me, Bonnie knows you came through me and she wants to thank me for that, right? And I am able to offer 2 bonuses. And for the first 20 people who join through me, you get a one-on-one coaching call with me so that I can help guide you, especially as you get further along in the program and you actually need that business advice help. And then everyone who enrolls through me will have a Q&A session on Zoom after Immersion ends. And I only have 4 people have taken me up on the one-on-one coaching. So there's 16 spots left. So there's one that has your name on it, Kristen, if you enroll through my affiliate link, or you, Brad, if you decide that you want to enroll through my affiliate link. So there are plenty of spots left for you to grab them, the first 20. And so I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that, because you have to make sure that you're clicking my link in order to become eligible. And I also wanted to let you know that don't have a lot of visibility to who enrolls. There's a very small report that I can look at every day, and it only has your first name and the initial of your last name. And so I want you, of course, if you do enroll and you wanted to ensure that you came through me, just email me at ann@annlafollette.com. You can go to my website. Here, I'll show you where my, you guys are probably all on my email list. If you've gotten any emails from me, just reply to the email and say, Ann, I did enroll, and I want to make sure that I got a coaching call with you. Can you double check? And then I'll be able to look. So for example, for you, Kristen, I would look on my list and I'd see, do I have a Kristen spelled the way you spell it with an R as the last name? And then I'd say, I have a Kristen R on my list. That's probably you, Kristen Rogers, and welcome to Immersion. And yes, you got one of the coaching spots with me. So I wanted to have an opportunity to just describe that really transparently, so that it's no surprise, and also so I can make sure that I'm giving you the confidence that you need to grab one of the coaching spots with me, since there are plenty left. Okay, so so the things that resonated with me, as you think about it, before I let you go, because I don't want to take too much more of your time, but the things that resonated with me was 15 minutes a day, because I know we're all really busy, but that really resonated with me, is 15 minutes a day. If you do 15 minutes a day in terms of making progress towards your goal of becoming a surface designer, then you are making amazing progress, and it all adds up over time. And once you're in the immersion program, you can use that approach, right? So it doesn't feel overwhelming. The second thing was taking yourself seriously, right? And making an investment in a program like Immersion is you are absolutely taking yourself seriously, which means you are going to take it seriously, right? And you're going to do the work, because you're going to want to ensure that you make your investment back and beyond, much, much beyond. The other thing that really resonated me was you are exactly where you are meant to be right this moment, which goes back to what Kristen said about the comparison game. The comparison trap will steal your joy. And so embrace exactly where you are now and take this next step to learn from the master, Bonnie Christine herself. I also thought being patient with ourselves as we're embarking on this. And also, to your point, Brad, around being patient with yourself around marketing and getting the word out that you have these beautiful designs now on Spoonflower. And you have to be patient, because it's not, this is not a one-trick pony. And it also doesn't happen overnight. There are no overnight success stories. It is taking it one step at a time and building momentum and continuing to make progress every single day. So with that, my friends, I will let you go. I'm just checking to see if there are any other questions. And Curtis, it's lovely to see you. And, if you're ready to take the next step as well and jump into Immersion, I would love to see you there. And because I go through it every year myself, I always learn something new, and I love the community, as she was talking about. But I will let you go. And I always like to say in closing that I am Ann LaFollette, and it's never too late to create. Bye for now. And of course, if you want to reach me directly, my email is ann@annlafollette.com. Or if you're already on my email list, you probably have a bunch of emails from me. Just reply to one of them and say, hey, Ann, I'd really like to talk about this. And I'm there for you. All right. I will see you soon, and bye for now.